All right, this is Dad's Not Duds podcast, episode number 4, and this is Tony Cincotta. Tony is a Texan. He's an Aggie through and through. He's also part of my very small circle, the village of people that I would trust with my life. He's a great dad. He's got a great family. And Tony, I'm looking forward to our conversation, looking forward to getting your wisdom out to other folks.
Yeah, man. Great to see you. The Dad's Not Dud goes virtual. Take one. Here we go. So we're rolling. Also, full disclosure, first pod ever on my part. So done plenty of Teams calls, sales calls, all that kind of stuff. But first entry and foray into the podcast space. But just happy to support what you're doing, man. Obviously love you and your family. So figure we jump on and chat. It's been a while.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, very much. You're going to be just fine because it's literally the same as just everybody's so used to Zoom and Teams and stuff and COVID. So it's like this is just kind of normal, but more like, just having a conversation, talking with buddies from, 600 miles away.
Yeah. And I'm not selling you anything. So that's nice.
So Tony and I both work in sales and we do this all day, every day. So this is kind of nice not to have to pitch anything for once. You just get to talk with somebody with no goal in mind. That's funny. Tony, tell us who you are. Like, give me a broad overview of like, my name is Tony and this is who I am.
Yeah, so born in Houston in '89. Lived most of like my life in Sugar Land, Texas before I went to school, suburb of Southwest Houston. From a great family, my mom and dad, they've been married almost 40 years now. Raised in a very, very much so traditional, like German, Italian, Catholic family on both sides. Went to Catholic school for all the way up until 7th grade. And then my parents realized that we probably needed to not do that anymore for various reasons. So 12-year-old me got exposed to public school at 7th grade, which was quite an adjustment, to be completely fair. So my dad's pretty significant formation in my childhood. So my dad's a golf course superintendent. So he has an agronomy degree. Been working on a golf course for 38, 39 years. Most of my childhood life from the time I was about 12 years old was working summers and winter breaks and spring breaks for him. Back when couldn't do anything with the machinery, I was picking up cigarette butts on the golf course. And then it transitioned into all that. Super busy childhood, swim team, ended up doing band, all that kind of stuff at Dulles High School down in Fort Bend County, Texas. So shout out the Vikings, still there. And then ended up going to, after graduating, ended up going to A&M. I originally wanted to be a music major. So I was like an all-state French horn player in high school. And I was like, yeah, man, like music performance, that'd be amazing. Auditioned at Baylor. They offered me a scholarship, but the scholarship was $2,000.
That's not going to work at Baylor.
Even in 2007, that was not going to work. And I'd always loved A&M growing up. Then they told me, like, you have to do music performance. Here's your scholarship, and you have to be in the Baylor band. And no disrespect to Baylor University, fantastic institution. Just ended up not working out there. Long story short, didn't get in originally to A&M, got a rejection letter, and then I was like, well, why don't I do the Corps Cadets? That's originally that was like, hey, like if you talk to somebody that's in the Corps recruiting office, like sometimes they can kind of slide your application and kind of get you in to do that. Not knowing much about that. I was in for a surprise there. So basically, for those that don't know, the Corps Cadets at A&M is like one of like 5 senior military academies outside of like your West Points, and you're like, so like for those that don't know, basically in the same reign of like VMI and the Citadel and all that stuff. So I did not have a traditional college experience in any sense at all. Went through that. I was gonna be a lawyer, so I went from I was gonna be in a symphony, then decided to be a lawyer. So I was a history major and a sociology minor. Paid my way through school. Tried to graduate as quick as I could. Took on loans, all that good stuff. Went to a job fair, and I've been thinking about it. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to pay off all this school. I don't really know if another 3 years of this is going to really make me that much more money. And I started looking at like entry level jobs for like lawyers, and I was like, that ROI didn't really seem to play out right in my mind. I was at that job fair. Target was there, and we're like, hey, we're going to be able to pay you this much amount. You can make this much in this many years. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. It wasn't like
I'll do that.
it wasn't like, man, I'm like really like passionate about retail and like all this kind of stuff. Like that is not that. But I mean, you're 21, 22, took that job. They asked me if I wanted to go to back home to Houston, to Dallas, or to San Antonio and Austin. I was just like, why not? Like I had some family in Dallas. I had an aunt and uncle, but they're up in Pilot Point, not too far from where I am right now. But moved up here, met my wife at Target, and fast forward 14 years or so, without rambling too much about me. That's kind of been here ever since. So we're originally in Plano, moved up to McKinney. My journey further and further away from my parents, which they don't like.
Yeah.
We're in Salina now. It's great. Fastest growing city in the United States, comes with its issues, but we love it up here. So long story short, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, left Target in 2023, and I now work for a small company, a big small company, but we do custom apparel and anything that like basically anything you put a logo on, we do. So based out of Bryan College Station, which as an Aggie, it's always fun to know your headquarters is down there. So
Yeah, heck yeah. And you've kind of done a lot. You've got rental properties, you've got
yeah,
family down there, you've got a lot happening. Going from Target to now you're with CC Creations.
yep.
Interesting concept there, but let's back up a little bit to like when you were in college, you were in a very disciplined, strict environment.
Yep.
How did that transition from college into adulthood? Was there anything there that you were like, this was kind of easy, like I'm used to this already?
I think anytime you enter a corporation, like I was not in the military. I did military ROTC, so like, but very similar to where like that hierarchical chain of command structure is very similar. So as you transition from, it's funny. I showed up at Target for orientation, and like they didn't tell me this, but literally it said like next day you report for training at 4 a.m. at this store in Dallas. And like it was funny because I'd gotten out of like, I mean, it was in the Corps. It's like, I mean, it's like PT every morning. In the band in the fall, you're like crazy busy. And I was like, I graduated. I was like, I get to be like like all my college buddies that were in the Corps, like they like got to do college stuff. Like I can be an adult now. I can get up and like do a 9 to 5 or whatever. And like I was like, all right, cool. I'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
I always say like I learned more from the Corps than I did in any class at A&M. Because it's basically a leadership laboratory. So you start off as a freshman, you're a follower. You transition to a sophomore, you're a direct leader. You transition to a junior, you're a leader of leaders, and then senior year, you're an executive. So you kind of get like that real quick training laboratory. And when you jump into like a company that is huge, that has like operating procedures, SOPs, best practices, like I can easily relate to that. Like it's why military leaders do so well in the corporate world, because it's just very broken down and hierarchical. So that plus I think like toiling in the heat in Sugar Land, Texas, in the summertime with my dad. Like I'm not afraid of hard physical work. So like it was hard, obviously. But that transition, at Target in the executive level, I was basically like the back of house running freight, all that kind of stuff. Like that was not overly challenging to me. I mean, to this day, I mean, up until getting married and raising a family, the Corps was still the most difficult thing that I'd ever done. So like it kind of just like water off my back.
Yeah, it was an easy transition.
Yeah.
Boy, talking about family though, you want to talk about a shift in mentality and everything.
Yeah.
Have some kids,
Uh-huh.
have a wife, go from single to wife and then to a kid, and you're like, who am I? Where did I go? What just happened to me?
Right. Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so my wife and I have been married since August 2nd of 2014. So I guess that'll be, is that 13 years this year? 12? Can't remember. Got a son. His name's Tatum. He's 10 years old. He is an amazing kid. I think he's upstairs playing Fortnite right now, to be completely honest. But no, he's awesome. He's going into fifth grade this year. Fun fact. So with Salina growing, obviously they're doing a ton of changes to the schools and stuff. We found out like 3 weeks before school went out that he's going to middle school.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they're literally grouping the fifth and sixth graders into the new middle school. So that was
Yeah.
like, well, we were not ready for that.
No. I have
But
a middle schooler. This is
yeah,
weird.
yeah, and he's and we can kind of talk about this too a little bit more and unpack it. But like, me in the job that I have now has enabled me to be able to spend a lot of time with him at home. My wife works at a Pizza Hut corporate down in Plano, but she works from home Monday, Friday, and is in the office Tuesday through Thursday. So I told him this summer, I was like, "Hey man, you're going to middle school this year. Like, he's coined it. Like, I'm giving him lots of additional roles and responsibilities, and he's decided to call it Man Summer."
Yeah.
Because he's going to learn to like, he's like, I'm going to become a man this summer. I was like, all right, dude, just like, you're ready. So let's go. But I was like, you got to get ready. So we've like blocked out this calendar. And there's like various stuff to it, but it's so funny. I was like, hey man, like, what do you want to learn about? Like in like your learning time. This week he was like, I want to learn about the Wild West. And I was like, all right, buddy, you got the right guy. Let's
I
go.
got it.
You know, so we're just like full into like Americana, breaking down history and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a blast.
Man, that's cool. Yeah, going from Target to what you do now, there's freedom there, right?
Yeah.
And Target, there's nothing wrong with Target. Target is a fantastic company. Like both of our wives work for Target. We have
Yep.
a lot of friends that still work for Target. Um, but in the role you were in, it's very time consuming,
Yep.
right? And you were leading a lot of people at
Yep.
one point. You had a very high volume store that you were managing. You didn't have a lot of time. You were working weekends. That's the opposite now, right?
Yeah, I think I was kind of reflecting on it, just kind of thinking through and like texting with you before, like um it's kind of like that. It was like that millennial. I graduated college in 2011. Is that millennial like at that point it's like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna move up the corporate ladder. I'm gonna make as much money as I can as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And like there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But you build yourself within that structure, and Tatum was getting older, and like I could make time for that stuff, but like there's always like a cost benefit scenario there where like it just got to a point, and to your point, dude, like amazing company, like my family would not be where it is today without them. I mean, I met my wife there, so like it's an amazing thing. But I think like it's almost been like a shift in mindset to me, that's kind of reflective of I think a lot of um, individuals that would be identifying with this podcast at all. Is like, okay, cool, like there's a cost benefit to anything, and I'm like, all right, cool, like if I'm going to be the father that I want to be, I'm going to have to make a change. But it's also been a mindset shift of like going from like a publicly traded company to like a family owned company that's been around for 40 plus years that has like values that like I'm completely on that. So like that is like it's almost shifted from like a corporate mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, but that's also reflective kind of where we are as a family to be like, okay, like I'm building something, I'm growing something, like it's ours and I can be proud of it instead of just being like a number, like literally like a team member number, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's been interesting, like this in sales, like um being here is great. There were times when I was at Target before I left where like he's always gonna be a mama's boy, that's who he is. But like she'd be like upstairs and I'd be like right next to him and he would always call mom like no matter what, because I just wasn't there. Like, and when I was home, I wasn't really home because like it's like that job, like you got to be plugged in all the time, no matter what. And like the toll that it took, just like was not. I remember starting my job here, and my wife being like it is night and day. Like you're actually here, and you haven't been here for a long time. And I think that was like the biggest thing. And to a point now where like he's gonna want mom, but like he's calling for dad. He wants to do things
Yep.
like that. It's crazy. You don't think about that. But I mean, but if your kids don't see you, then they're not going to look to you.
Right.
So it's been great. Love what I'm doing now. The freedom that comes with it is great too, but I think, like I said, also like that mindset of like, okay, cool, like I've got stake in this game that's not a stock option. It's like I'm working for this family owned company that like I know I identify with, and like your core values are my core values. So
Yep.
let's roll.
There's a sense of loyalty in that aspect because
Yep.
they are doing things and building a business in the same way that you're building your family
Yep.
with the same morals in mind.
Yep.
So I can resonate with that a lot, just of how, man, I've had a lot of jobs, like
Oh yeah.
just going between different careers. Like I could resonate with that now because what you do professionally has such a pour over into your personal life,
Yep.
just mentally. What do you do? Because like now you have the time. Is there anything mental that you do now, like whether it's at night or in the morning, that you're like, okay, this is the time for me. This is how I get myself on track. Is there anything habits or disciplines that you do there?
So, I mean, ironically enough, like I consume a lot of content in the podcast world, but I try to be intentional with it. I think as a father, you feel a responsibility to be aware of what is going on in the world to present yourself to your family. However, I've learned to like I have to put a check on that because in today's
There's a
world, like
lot.
it's probably not good for your mental health to be plugged in all the time. But really, I'm just trying to plug into the word. My time's not really the mornings because Tatum's up early no matter what. But Chelsea and him are normally in bed around 8:45 at the latest. So like that like 8:45 to whatever is my time block. So that's
Mm-hmm.
news. That's working out. I always try to listen to the at least once a week the Live Free podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out Live Free podcast. That's great.
Yeah.
Josh at Lake Point Church, great. But I think like going back a little bit. So it kind of all like I look at like three major events to put us where we are right now as a family. Before I left Target, like in like 2020, like COVID happened around the same time I was diagnosed with skin cancer. So I got diagnosed with melanoma. That like shattered me, to be completely honest. I got saved in college, so like I've been a Christian since then. But that like I think a lot of people had this like that existential crisis period. I think was kind of magnified there. I wasn't really happy with how I handled that, and it kind of all really led to us getting plugged in back at the church that we've been going to before, but because of life or whatever, Chelsea started volunteering as a greeter at church. This is fast forward. I'm all over the place, but I think it's important to say because of where we are now. About 6 months later, I started volunteering as a greeter at church, and then last year I volunteered to be a special needs like buddy for VBS
Mm-hmm.
in the summer. So Tatum has special needs, so he uses that ministry at our church called Seeds of Hope and Hope Fellowship in Frisco. Shout them out too. My thought was like I don't want to take resources from the church. So like if Tatum's going to have a buddy, like I'm going to be somebody else's buddy.
Yeah.
So that kind of all led to my long-winded point of like I reflect on how like if something like that were to come at me now, like I'm way like in my faith so much more prepared to handle
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And I think it's just kind of been a journey, all of that including work, and kind of where we're at to kind of lead where we are now. All that to say, I try to always focus my thoughts on like, is this bringing me closer to my faith or is it not? And I make a ton of mistakes and a lot of times I do things that are not that, but I try to ground myself in that as like, can I be the, spiritual leader of my family?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, I got to be the one that's leading and I got to be my best self. That and like, if I'm not in the gym, I don't have a good day. I'm not consistent with that. My wife and I do hot works. I love it. It's great. I love like if I'm not sweating, I feel like I like missed it out.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
get on a bike, throw in some praise and worship music,
Yeah.
get after it, and go from there.
That's awesome. That's a good segue too, just from like there's so much we can talk about on the spiritual side of like this is what I do and how I do it and this is how it's impacted me. But there's a lot of different facets of like as a man and as a leader of your family, like there is the mental side, there's the spiritual side, there's the physical side. You have to take care of yourself too. But typically in my life, that's the first thing that goes.
Oh,
When I get
absolutely.
busy, I'm not working out today. I don't
Yeah.
have time for that. I need the hour. And it's tough. And it used to be, I mean, shoot, 5 years ago and before, it was the first thing that would go is my spiritual side.
Yep.
Because, like you said, like the morning times, it's hard to get quiet time. Kids wake up early, you just hit the ground running. So it's usually like sometime midday or sometime at night that you're trying to find time and you're tired and it's taken over. So 5 years ago, it was the spiritual side, first thing to go.
Yep.
Now it's like I refuse to miss my time with God.
Yep.
I'll give up my workouts. I can sharpen my body tomorrow, but my spiritual side has to come first. But at the same time, it's difficult to balance all of that.
Yep.
And how do you guys do that?
I don't know. I think we're all trying to figure it out, man.
No idea, man.
Yeah. I think oh man, we're my wife and I are both like we're doers, right? So like you said, like we get up like if there's something that needs to get done in the house, like I'm like not a like I probably need to be better at this, but neither of us are like a wake up, like I'm gonna take some quiet reflection. Like no, there's stuff to do, man. Like there's dishes, there's
Yeah.
laundry, like I gotta do this. Like man, we just try to make out time. And part of this like summer schedule is trying to make sure that we're being really intentional with our time too. So like
Yeah.
we're one weekend, right? So I'll keep you posted. But like on the weeknights, like we've carved out at least an hour of like 6 to 7 where like doesn't matter what we're gonna be doing, but like it's family time. So like
Yeah.
if family time is like playing a game or if it's like even just like watching a movie, like it's so easy, especially like as Sam gets older, like he's not that dependent on us unless he wants food, right? So like he could go off into his room and do his own thing,
Right.
but forcing ourselves to be present in those moments,
Mhm.
I think is huge.
It's going to have a huge impact on him too,
Yeah.
because he feels that. He's going to
Hmm.
feel like, oh, they're plugged into me right now.
Yep.
This is undivided attention.
Yeah, and like it's funny, like um, this was not the plan for like man summer that we're calling it, but like
Yeah.
that first morning, I was like every morning I'm gonna go for a walk. We got this like beautiful cow pasture behind our house, and like the first day I started like we're going for our walk, and he's like, all right, cool, and like we're walking, and then all of a sudden like and like he's not like the most touchy feely person with me. He just like that's fine, but I'm walking and like he's like all of a sudden I just feel his hand reach over and he like wants to hold my hand on the walk, and
Oh,
I was like, he's not verbalizing this, but what he is here, what he has heard from me as a dad in man summer is like, you are my priority, and I'm going to be spending this time with you. Like, this is our time, and I think
yeah.
subconsciously they feel that. Like, I know he did. He didn't have to tell me.
Yeah.
He's not going to verbalize that, but like he in his mind is like, oh wow, like dad, like it's me and dad this summer,
Yeah.
like, and I think that was like a huge thing. My goal is to teach more, like for him to like advance more learning wise and to like learn more this summer than he would in like an entire year of school. That's my whole plan. Like, let's get you ready, dude. Like,
Yeah.
so, but that was pretty telling to me of like an observation of like they see stuff, man. You may not think they do, but they hear like what you say and how like what you do around them. Like even if it's like,
Mhm.
hey, this is us together this summer, like that means something to them. They can feel that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what you say, what you do, and how you say it,
yep,
they notice that.
yep,
I mean, they notice that quickly. And, we've got 4 kids, so it's like every one of them is a little bit different
oh yeah,
in how they handle communication.
yep,
But they know it, they feel it. I mean, in that grasp of the hand, man. I saw this thing on social media a couple of days ago where one of the dad type people that I follow, he posted a picture or video of his child running up and grabbing his hand, and then it was like this explosion of like, this is awesome, and then it ended with like, never let go, because I don't know the last time you're going to come reach for my hand. Like
yeah,
when you get old enough that you don't want to hold daddy's hand anymore. And gosh, dang
yeah,
it, man.
yeah.
Because I'm like, that I can't imagine. My kids are so young right now. I just can't imagine them not wanting to hold my hand in a parking lot, or like we go on a walk, they don't want to come up and hold my. I just can't fathom that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just trying to soak in the moments and like be a dad while they're still little and just take as much time as you can is extremely admirable, especially when you could be doing other things.
Yeah. No. no, for sure, for sure. It was funny, like as men, I don't think like we don't need much. Like that moment, like that moment may not happen for another 3 weeks, but that's gonna get me through whatever
Right.
for the
Yeah.
next 3 weeks. You know, like
Yep.
like it was
You're
like
gonna
your
think about that.
yeah, it was like your post about Maggie that was like this that's really funny or like that's really cool that you're doing that. I was like, that's all you need, dude. Like I was like, all right,
Yeah.
man, like you believe in me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
absolutely. I can do
this.
everything. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's funny because I posted that. I didn't tell her any of that because she doesn't notice that. She doesn't necessarily care.
yeah.
But dude, when she was like, that was really funny, it was like, yeah, I've got you just basically told me I can conquer the world with this thing. Like
Yeah,
this is full send from
yeah,
here.
yeah,
And I think people just don't realize, especially in marriage, like you don't realize how powerful it is when you have a spouse that supports you in whatever the heck you're doing. And
yep,
it is extremely powerful.
for sure, for sure. And I think too, like just to kind of shout out my family. So like obviously like my parents are still married. They've been married. I grew up in like solid marriages. So like my grandparents who just recently passed on my mom's side were married for 50 years. They had 4 kids. My dad's parents, my grandmother passed recently, like around like I think around 2021. But my dad lost his dad when he was 18. Um, she never remarried. Like just was like the matriarch of the family. So like to me, like that model was kind of put out for me in marriage. So like it's been a blessing to kind of see that to where all right, cool. Like that was like to me, it was like there's no other really option. Like you, like this is
Right.
I do as I do, and like we're gonna figure it out. And I think that's been a blessing to me and my family.
Mhm.
But it's funny, yeah. Like wives, if any wife hears this, just say one thing, and it's gonna get. You don't have to say many things. Like
Yeah.
don't
Just give them
don't
a little boost.
don't
Just a little boost.
don't underestimate the weight of your words. And in like a loving, like godly marriage, like you are that person to him.
Mhm.
So like build him up.
Yeah, that's right. Talking about that too, man. I've started to find like I grew up in a Christian home. Like my parents, I'm basically the same as you. Like I had great parents to model marriage. My parents got married super young. My mom was 16, my dad was 18. Had 2 kids early, 18 and 20. Like my mom's only 20 years older than me. Like
Yeah.
she's young. But I got to see that. Like I saw them work through problems. I saw them work through just dirt floor poor. Like
Yep.
I saw them do all those things, and it has created this insane resiliency just in me and my marriage and like how we handle things because I've seen that modeled.
Yep.
It is, I think, different for guys who didn't get that, where they sometimes formulate this escape plan or like they have to work harder in that sense because they didn't get to see that. But I think there's a spiritual side of that where if you have that foundation together,
Yep.
it doesn't really matter what your upbringing was. It doesn't really matter, what you did or didn't get to see. If you have that spiritual foundation and you're building upon that in your marriage, it is going to be dang difficult for you to figure out how to ruin that when God's going to be there upholding that.
Yeah. No. I mean, completely accurate, right? Like if you take it for what it is, like there's a really good book. It's the best selling book of all time, and there's some pretty good examples of how to
Yep.
how to live that out. I mean the one flesh thing. I always joke with Chelsea about it. I was like, hey, now like we're one flesh here. Like that. Like we got to figure this out. And I think
Yep.
more than anything, like yeah, if your faith is at the forefront, like you can get through anything.
Yeah.
And like
Do you find any like struggles of like okay, I know what the Bible says. It is very strict on, hey, I am the leader of the household, I have to lead my family towards God. Do you find any struggles? Like I have a big time struggle of like sitting down and grabbing my wife's hands and just praying about something. It's very difficult. No problem with my kids whatsoever,
yeah,
but I do have that. It's harder in marriage with my spouse. Do you have any struggles that just leading your family in that way?
yeah. No, I think it's kind of in my personality. Like so, it's interesting. My wife she's amazing. She has a very strong personality, and I think like Sometimes I'm very much like a servant heart kind of person. Like I give through action, right? Like that's cooking, that's doing this, that's doing that. And I think a lot of times like I'll defer to that because it's comfortable for me. Instead of being like, hey, no, like we need to do this. Because I'm like, hey, like we got this together. And like it's just taking the time and like thinking it through, but it's like I've heard someone say it somewhere, like it's like you just got to start it. And like I'm a victim of this too, but it's tough. Like it's tough to like, because you think of your wife, like Christian marriage, like you should be like you should be leading that.
Without a doubt.
I think traditional society has told us like men and women are the same, so like we're equals, and we are equals, but we have roles within the family that like no matter what society says, like the good book says, like this is your job.
That's right.
But no, yeah, I think my general inclination is to um, lead through service. So it's kind of hard for me to be bold in that way. Not because of anything outside of like my own brain, you know.
Yep.
So I think it's just, I
Getting
think
your
to
own
your
way.
point, it's just taking time and being intentional with it. I don't do enough of this, I think, but like taking self inventory more often of being like, okay, cool. Like, are we focused on the right things? Where can I be better? But no, it's unless you're in the habit of doing it, like it's hard to just like do it. And like praying out loud can be awkward.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
and there's also that like, I don't want to sound like a dummy in front of my wife. What if I say like this ridiculous stuff? And she's like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? You know?
Yeah. What if I say the wrong thing? Like, oh, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but we shouldn't be embarrassed. But I get it, dude. That's the same thing in my brain because like Maggie grew up in church, like heavy in
Yep.
church. Her family was very involved. Like she was a JBQ kid. Like she knows the Bible, man. And so I'm like a little not that way for me. I got a great relationship with God, but it's been through trials and failures and some mess ups. And I don't know scripture the way that I should, but boy, am I trying. It's this hard balance between like, okay, I'm going to diligently pray for you with you, but like, I need you to not judge me by what I say. Like my prayer might not be in depth and it might sound like a second grader, but like, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
Nor she would never do that. Like I think she's just really appreciative of the leadership side and like, okay, you're passionately pursuing what God is telling you to do, and she values that. But in my brain, which is also Satan, right? Satan
100%.
plants these little seeds of like, here is doubt, here is fear, here is conjecture that I'm going to put in there to prevent you from doing something like that. And we as men have to figure out how to have the courage and the strength to overcome that. It's just hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
I
hard.
totally agree. I think like I'm talking to myself here. But I think the only way that you get to the point where you're getting better is like I said, what you invest your time in is where your heart's going to be. So like, am I going to watch this next podcast to make sure I know what's going on 6,000 miles away and how it affects my family, or like whatever medium you get it, right? Like if it's like just like throw on worship music and just chill, or like I'm gonna like watch a Christian podcast, or like anything that can redirect you towards the main thing in that little amount of time that you have is going to be wholly more important. I think sometimes it's as basic as like most of the time, like there's like worship music going on in our house, contemporary worship in our house all the time. And like I think like
Powerful, man.
you think like it's just music, and I'm like what do you mean it's just music? Like those are words that get imprinted on your brain. That's like music is like, so it's just little things like that to kind of help our family faith formation. To like when a song gets stuck in your head, if it's not a good song, like for your spirit, it's not good. Like,
Right.
but if like a worship song, like there's Bible verses just playing in your subconscious, and like you're being a part of that, I think it can kind of
Yeah.
help you get there for sure.
Yeah, it's your sword. It's your
Yep.
sword battling against Satan. I mean, those little snippets, worship music, scripture, whatever you can put in your brain, you're in a battle all the time.
Yep.
So anytime you can make that battle a little easier,
Yeah.
that's pivotal. One thing I've started trying, and so I have my content calendar built out for like the social media side, and I have a reel that I'm going to post tomorrow, Sunday morning. And it's basically, it's like, I saw this challenge on social media not long ago. But it says, as a man, like, hide yourself away, turn on one worship song. Doesn't matter what it is, favorite, not fit, doesn't matter. Just tell Alexa or Siri to put on a praise and worship song. And it talks about physically getting on your knees.
Mm-hmm.
Get on your knees and just pray for the length of one worship song. That's all the challenge is. Physically on your knees, turn on a worship song and pray for the duration of that song. And then get up and continue on your day. And just see like how powerful that is to change your perspective on the day, whether it's professionally or personally with your family. It has been kind of crazy, man, because I have a huge issue with like tone, like how I talk to my kids and my wife.
Yeah.
It's not great. Like, it's a big struggle of mine, but it is massively changed, like, just doing that. And I haven't changed anything other than I am passionately pursuing that one specific thing in a day. So try that, see how it works. I'm going to put that reel out and hopefully people will give it a good shot, because it freaking works, man.
Yeah, I think I heard a pastor say this at one point that was really good too, because I think like we as men have a bias for action, like it is ingrained in our DNA. It's been that way always. I think you make a great point. That's a great strategy, but like you also don't have to come, to your point, to him with like, sometimes like, like God just wants you to be there with him. So like you don't even have to, like, prayer is not necessarily just like you're verbalizing prayer. Like, just take the time and be with him. Like, just from a pure mental health standpoint, like, I guarantee you it's going to be okay. Like,
yep.
So no, I think that's great.
Perspective. It really does change perspective. It's good. Okay. So before I let you go, I have a question that I ask pretty much every person, like when I'm having these types of conversations, whether it's on the podcast or not. And it's essentially your advice to somebody else, right? If every man that listens to this podcast, if they took one thing from this conversation today, or from your experience and the wisdom that you have, what would you want that one thing to be?
You can amass like the most incredible knowledge about every topic that you could ever learn. You could amass whatever wealth you think you need or what you want, but ultimately, like if you're not walking with Jesus, give him a shot, because there's nothing more important than that. So ultimately, that's kind of been what I've been trying to stick to the core to, of, as a father. Okay, cool. Yep. How can I be like Jesus? As a leader of people, well, that's a pretty good example of how to lead people. As all that, I mean, that's the standard. If you don't know him, give him a shot. If you don't know him and you know Shane, ask Shane. He can tell you about him. But I think like that's what I try to constantly focus on. Because you can gather up worldly treasures, you can gather up worldly knowledge, but at the end of the day, like, you as a man have an obligation to lead your family spiritually, and literally everything else will come after that.
Yeah, that's so good, man. That's so good. Well, Tony, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on, hanging out. Appreciate you giving us an insight on who you are, where you've been, and how to overcome some things, and some wisdom, man. It's hopefully going to resonate with some folks.
Cool, man. Hey, great to see you. Glad y'all are doing well. Glad I got to see Cohen. It was great.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, have a good one. We'll catch up soon.
All right, bye.